Hey, everybody. Once again, we're live at Stanford and Cal. I love to tease about because, hey, we got football in a couple of days, but also congratulations on getting Davis back. That's incredible. So we down the stretch. And before we talk economic development, give us some hope for the rest of the season so we don't talk us down off the ledge because we're hanging with every nail of our.
Well, this is the time of year where every game matters, and it was nice to see us win today. It was nice to see KD back in the lineup. And he's already batting 1,000. Usually bats 247, but this year so far he's batting 1,000 for us. And great to take 2 of 3 against the Tigers for sure.
Absolutely. Well, close to the wild card, we'll hit it. But there's time on task, right?
Absolutely. Well, we're usually good in September. It's going to be a dogfight till the end, but we're in it, and we have a great team, great skipper, and David and Billy have put a great set of players together. So it's about watching every day and seeing where we get to.
Go A's. Hey, out of respect for your process, I wanted to make sure that people understood both in the Las Vegas parlance and the Oakland parlance where everything was. So where overview are we first in Oakland and then Las Vegas?
Well, in Oakland, the city voted on their version of a term sheet in July. It was not something we agreed to, and we remain apart with the city on economic terms. We still are continuing to push forward with the environmental review, with all the port final documents, and with all the plan development permitting. And there's actually a hearing next week on Wednesday of the Design Review Board as part of the Planning Commission. So all of those other processes are going. And really on the economic side, we're waiting to hear what happens with the county. The city's deal to us depends exclusively on having the county participate. And the latest couple letters from the county have been pretty discouraging. So that's a big outstanding issue, Zennie.
First of all, let me just ask, has anyone calculated the loss to the county? And I did is 15%, which you can overcome by saying, okay, I'll attach 30 million to the base year assessed value, right? So it's something you can surmount. But has the city presented to you an alternative to get around the county?
They have not. They insist that the county has to be part of the deal. Our original proposal basically had a way to do it without the county, and but they insist that the county has to be involved, and that's their point of view, and so that means the county's got to opt in, and right now they haven't shown a willingness to do that, so we're taking a wait and see approach on that.
When was the last time you heard from the county, or have you tried to talk to County Administrator Susan Marinici?
Susan Marinici sent a letter to me and the mayor and Ed Reskin, the city administrator, about a week ago, clearly stating, this is her second letter to us in a month, that there would not be a vote in September, that the county was not going to take this up. It felt a lot like a no. I mean, we were pretty discouraged when we saw that. It's quite concerning. And if we are going to be relying on the county's participation with a binding vote later this year, that seems like a tough putt right now. So we're going to have to see how it all plays out.
How does that impact the Las Vegas process, and that takes us into the discussion of Las Vegas and where we are?
Las Vegas is on its own parallel path. We're focused a lot on market feasibility and venue selection. We're also meeting with the local elected leaders, folks like Governor Sisolak, the county commissioners, obviously the mayors of the relevant cities, Deborah March in Henderson, and obviously Mayor Goodman in the city of Las Vegas. And so those have all been really fruitful conversations. Since there's no things like environmental reviews and things like that in Las Vegas, things can move a lot faster. We're going to continue to see how far we can get there while we still work on a parallel path in Oakland. So those are our two efforts that we're spending a great deal of time on, both time and money and resources and staff, because we really need to solve this 20-year saga of not having a sufficient ballpark for the A's.
Back in, I believe it was May 31st, or Mike Nyota there, you explained that Major League Baseball made the call regarding Las Vegas. Is that to say that the parallel paths also include Major League Baseball personnel that are involved in helping you? How is that working out logistically?
Well, we've been kind of at the forefront, but we've been updating the key folks at the league office on our progress. and making sure that they are abreast of the situation, that they understand both the positive and negative attributes to either one of the processes. And they've been a great support to us. They really want to see this resolved as soon as possible. This has just been such a lingering issue for the league, for the industry for too long. And we have to bring it to some type of resolution. And that's what we're trying to do this year.
Hey, regarding the survey, are you working with Convention Sports and Leisure on that?
We are. Bill Rhoda at CSL, which is a division of Legends.
I knew it.
They do an incredible job. We actually had a focus group last night, 3 focus groups actually in Las Vegas. We've done intercept surveys in other markets like Los Angeles, Seattle, Houston, to see if folks from those communities will travel in to see games, and also to poll A's fans who don't live in the Bay Area. We have A's fans all over the country to see if they'd be interested in coming to Las Vegas. So that's really important work that drives a lot of the financing decisions, the venue location, and really allows us to establish what type of business model we're going to have if we have the team there.
What are you finding so far? Is it still too early to tell?
Well, one thing we found from the local focus groups and customer surveys is really the strength of the local market. With 2.5 million people in Southern Nevada, with the success of the Golden Knights, and obviously with the success of the Raiders there, a lot of local people have the discretionary income and the propensity to actually invest and really lean into professional sports. And I think that's something that kind of surprised us.
For those of you who don't know, Convention Sports Leisure was started by Jerry Jones, the owner of Dallas Cowboys, and his partners, and have really scored a lot of significant research over the years. But they're also partnered with Legends. Are you working with Legends Entertainment?
We are. We're working with those folks as well. Chad Estes, who I've known for years. He also grew up in Northeast Ohio like I did. And we're working with them. They were involved in the sales campaign for the Raiders Stadium, Allegiant Stadium. And so, we're leveraging the experience of groups that were involved in another stadium development in Las Vegas and ones across the country to actually kind of turbocharge the process and to try to get to decisions as quick as possible because, we are running out of time.
Yeah, I actually had the pleasure of meeting some of them at a Raiders sponsor party that I was invited to during CES. This is back in 2019. Hey, so yeah. So are you then also working with Bank of America's Elliot McCabe? He generally does the bond issues and for them. And
we actually have been working with Goldman Sachs and Greg Carey, and we work with them on our stadium in San Jose as well. And so, but I do know Elliot and I know Jim Nash at Bank of America, and you just have so many great groups, bankers who are specialized in sports now because this becomes such a big industry.
Yeah, they all get things done. I met Elliot at the same party, and I was explaining to him that they would benefit from a tax increment financing district. He nodded like that. So,
oh yeah, they know that stuff backwards and forwards, and I think we really built our entire plan in Oakland on that, and we've learned a lot about it. And it really provides an incredible opportunity to use the project-generated revenue to make the project work. And that's something I think everyone should be able to get behind.
Well, and for the viewer, I don't ask these questions to be cute, but to really establish that this is serious business in terms of getting something done, regardless of whether it's Oakland or Las Vegas, right, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, we're running out of time. Like I said, we only have a lease through 2024. It's not like these buildings can be financed and built in a year. If we don't get to a decision point soon, we're not going to have anywhere to play. And you can't have a Major League Baseball team without a Major League ballpark. And I think that's something that the league and us are concerned about.
Hey, my colleague Richard Hake posted a couple of questions. He's covered the A's for you. He says the county seems to be saying that you need to come to an agreement with the city before they can decide. Is that the case?
I think that's been their positioning. We're hopeful that either the city finds a way to do it without the county, which we think is possible, or, we can come to some type of an agreement with the city. We still have outstanding areas between the two parties that have not been resolved. And, we've been trying to get there, but with some of these things, like we just remain at an impasse. So a couple of these, outstanding things need to fall into place for that to get squared away.
And then he asked about the status of the purchase of the city's half of the Coliseum, and that goes to an issue that sort of gets under my craw. But from your standpoint, and I'll explain why that is in a second, but from your standpoint, where are we with that?
Well, the city has been pursuing other groups to sell their half to. And, we're kind of waiting to see how that plays out and what happens. We've been more focused on the waterfront and getting the approvals at Howard. And, there's so many different processes there. So we haven't been spending as much time on the Coliseum area.
And he says, you mentioned something about the Coliseum. I'm going to skip that one, Richard, because I'm just out of time. But moving forward from that, has the city talked to you regarding financing for Howard Terminal, the bond issue? Do they have a complete matrix picture of how this is actually going to look at Howard Terminal? After all these years, have they gotten that to you?
That is what we're waiting on. When we say that there's still a gap on the offsite financing, is we need to see all that. Our bankers need to see that. We need to feel comfortable that those debt issuings that they're looking to do don't rely on us. So we're not putting our balance sheet at risk. And those are critical components to going from term sheet to a final document that we're really waiting on. And so we're hopeful that the city can produce that. I know they have a series of consultants helping them to get there, but that's going to be a major and critical step to understanding if we can get to a final agreement this year.
Have they worked out, because one council member told me they did, the idea that you can bond the money up front because the consultants like Robert Gamble of Public Financial Management wrote a document that said that they were going to basically pay out as you go as opposed to an upfront bond issue. And that just, I said, you can't get a project done like that. That's just me. And I'm sure
we're going to need the money up. The city's going to need the money up front, Zennie, because they have certain infrastructure needs that need to go in at the beginning. So you can't just wait over time to get it unless they just want us to put up the money up front. And we don't know that. That's something we need to get to the bottom of. That's why some of this specificity is so critical.
So you mean to tell me, excuse me for phrasing it that way, but it's just, 30 years of experience are just sort of coming out. You mean to tell me that they couldn't give you a simple matrix regarding sources and uses, finances, as much as you and I have talked about this over these months?
We unfortunately have not seen that yet.
Wow. At what point, to settle the fans' thirst for, an idea where we go, at what point is it fish or cut bait? At what point do we know that you're staying or going? What signs are there,
I think there has to be a definitive vote, one that's binding by the city this year. Because, we've been good. This has been 5 years. At the end of this year, it'll be 5 years, a year and a half on Laney, 3.5 years on, obviously the project at the waterfront. We believe in our vision, but we can't let the process be the product. We actually have to get to the point where something gets approved. We can move forward and build it. Jobs can be generated, and it can be a net benefit to the entire region. We can't just spend 10 years talking about it. And I worry we've spent 5 years come fall. So I think that should have been enough time to indicate where things are, and hopefully we would get to a decision. So that's probably like the way we're thinking about it now. I mean, things could change, but that's the general feelings.
And as we lead to a close, we might not know you in a minute. What is it? What do you think about the state's supposed investigation regarding the deal, regarding the Coliseum land that you purchased? Not you, but
we're still trying to make heads or tails out of that letter that was sent, and there's a lawsuit by CBE, Communities for a Better Environment, on that transaction. And we're just trying to sort out what it means and what it means to our transaction with the county. And, a lot of those are legal matters that I can't really speak to publicly, but, obviously you see a very active state in this area. And, obviously we want to ensure that that is a project that we can move forward with at a future date.
Has anyone contacted Gavin and said, hey, you know what, we need you to give us a thumbs up on this and get this stuff out of the way?
It's like right now we've just been focused on even understanding what it all means. And once we get more knowledgeable about that, we can see the best course of action.
I get you. Because what gets me about it is that you already basically went through this in 2019. Mm-hmm. The city got off your back. Everything was, as they say, chaotic. And now it seems like it's just being reinvented again. for reasons that are still, to me, just confusing. It's just one more thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's been our challenge on this project from the beginning, Zennie, is that there just are so many layers of approvals and things and hoops you have to jump through. And it just means like I said, the process becomes the product. We want to get to building the stadium. We want to have the stadium open. We want to have games there. We want to win a World Series there. But, we need everyone's help to streamline these things and make them happen in a timeline that makes sense.
Anything you want to say to fans as we close out?
Just it's going to be an exciting September. It's going to be a wild ride.
Go A's. Hey,
Go
Dave.
Thanks a lot.
Everybody will be back later. Subscribe to Zennie62 and bookmark oaklandnewsnow.com. That ends this broadcast.